What's going on, everyone? It's Alex. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit since I last posted, I know. Just been a bit busy in life, but you know how it goes. I do have reviews coming out for Black Panther and the Guardians holiday special. Obviously, it's pretty late, but I know some of you may want to hear my full thoughts on these projects, so look out for those. And if you're new to the channel, I'll be covering everything heavily in 2023, but let's get into today's video. So I wanted to talk about Phase 4, the excitement, the expectations, the ups and downs, and of course the title of this video, what big changes are coming to Phase 5. If we're being honest about Phase 4, I don't know if it lived up to the expectations or not. I would say yes in a way, but mainly no. And when I say no, I'm speaking from the general audience's point of view. Do I think a lot of it was great? Yes, absolutely. Do I think there's way more hate than there should be? 100%. But was it perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, nothing's perfect, but I think it goes a little bit further than that. There were definitely some concerning things that we saw in Phase 4. What we also have to remember about this phase is COVID drastically affected this a lot. This kind of goes under the radar now because we're a few years into COVID, or at least past the post-pandemic phase. And those lockdowns were really messed up a lot of the filming schedules, the entire VFX industry, which is still having troubles today, and more. So even though we're seeing a project like Thor: Love and Thunder in the summer of 2022 and She-Hulk, they were obviously working and filming on these during peak COVID. Now obviously you can make an excuse for anything, but it is what it is. Now to get into the actual purpose of Phase 4, what it really was to reignite the MCU, the lore, the MacGuffins, and an origin story for the next saga, the Multiverse Saga. Now the problem with doing this in 2020 is we just had a massive 10-year build-up to the Infinity Saga ending with Thanos. So for many, the MCU had peaked during the Infinity War and Endgame time, and when you reach the top, there is an expected drop-off, but I think many were thinking that they would and could only go bigger. But that wasn't the case, as we saw with the first Phase 4 movie, Black Widow. A movie that I liked more than most, but one that should have definitely come out in 2017, bridging the gap between Civil War and Infinity War. A movie like that works great 6 years ago, but now doing it in Phase 4 after we already know Natasha Romanoff's ending, it kind of sucked. And when I say it sucked, I don't really mean the movie, I just mean the whole way of how the movie came out, the release date. I mean pretty much just everything about when that movie came out in Phase 4. It was, even when it was announced, it was always like, oh, we're getting Black Widow finally. But it's after her death, so, it didn't really progress the story enough, and that's really all I have to say about that. So like I said though, the expectations were to go bigger and better, but we were met with a Phase 1 rehash in Phase 4. Phase 4 is literally Phase 1 if they were to redo it all over again. The MCU had to restart, it had to reinvent itself, and as much as people don't want to admit, I think Marvel Studios was also testing the waters and finding out how to reinvent themselves and new ways to tell stories. Because whether you agree or not, whether you like it or not, the She-Hulk finale is very different from WandaVision sitcoms, which is very different from the Eternals ensemble, Moon Knight, and that of course is way different than the more typical superhero story in Spider-Man No Way Home. Kevin Feige said that he would stay at Marvel Studios until he got bored of telling stories, and that the multiverse and quantum realm was the next evolution in the MCU storytelling, which is what we're about to see in Quantumania. So you may not enjoy everything in Phase 4, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't. But I appreciate them trying out new things. Now onto some of the new bits and what to expect for the future. It has been reported that Phase 5 will see a slower release schedule. But obviously this is going to be on purpose. There have been studies and reports of fans having Marvel fatigue. And admittedly, I don't think I would say I have Marvel fatigue. But when I see the Marvel Studios logo and a project that's coming up, I'm not as excited as I was for when Phase 4 was first starting. And that's really just because of the time in between projects. We went from there being, 3, 4, 5 months, even, after Endgame, there was a whole year, right? An entire year because of COVID and such. But now with projects coming out every month or every 2 months, it doesn't have the same charm. Now, obviously, I still love it. I'm going to watch everything, but I do think this is going to be really healthy for not only the MCU, but for fans in general. And when this report first came out, it mentioned that they would focus on quality instead of quantity, and I think people took that the wrong way completely. Obviously, they've been focusing on quality the entire time. Now, are some projects a higher quality than others? Absolutely. There was also reports a few months ago about how so many projects at once is stretching Feige too thin, and he can't really be around projects or on set and see how everything is moving. So this is really just going to help out everything under Marvel Studios. Because just like the old saying goes, quality over quantity any day. Now, we did just get news also from Echo that it won't be released until around December of 2023 or the late half of the year, which is way past the original date of sometime around late spring or summer. So the changes are coming. If you didn't love Phase 4, I do think Phase 5 is setting up to be a good one, especially because the world building is now all there. Things will be more natural, you don't have to really shoehorn anything in, so characters and stories will intertwine with one another as we get, of course, closer to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which I do expect to be pushed back a bit as well. Nevertheless though, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the video and let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I'll have reviews up and more theories as we get closer to Quantumania. You can follow me on Twitter at AnotherMarvelG and join the Discord, the links are in the description below. And other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm Another Marvel Guy, and I'll catch y'all on the blip.